because we have duplications as well as part of the medications part of the test. They don't ask a lot of brand names, but they do. Can you pass without really memorizing the brand names? I think as a secret, I think you can.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I guess maybe this is like a naive question because I'm not in this world, but
Okay.
is it just so obvious? Which, like, some of the stuff is obvious, like if it ends in mirin, right? That's really easy. But some of it, like you said, oh, these are beta blockers, and this is how you remember what the beta blockers do. But is the classification of the drug something that is really easy? And so you don't have to worry about it, or do you also kind of need to memorize that
You
step?
have to have tools, tips, which is my next tip on how to remember this classes. Visualization, tip number 3. So visualization, one of the things I talked about in the earlier episode was my ugly drawings on the board and funny sticks in the head. So if you have a way to visualize certain, it helps so much. If you have a story, your grandma's taking this. Like I have a story about cancer meds because my mom died of breast cancer and I didn't know I'd be a pharmacist later on in life. Vaso for vasodilator. If you picture a vase that expanded to help with blood pressure, that's now you know that vasodilators are for blood pressure, and you have a picture of a vase visualization. Another thing, there's a YouTube channel that has really good visualization techniques, and this is one example that I like to share. There is a picture of a boy and macaroni and cheese, and the boy was throwing up. My students love these examples. So it's a macrolide, macaroni and cheese. The story behind this, the boy ate so much of the macaroni and cheese because he likes it so much, and then he kept throwing up. And one of the side effects of macrolides is nausea and vomiting because macrolides end in thromycin, azithromycin. And so that picture, my students never forget that. My story about Cialis, tadalafil, if you visualize it, it's so easy for you to remember, tie it to the class or the group. And like I said, these prefixes on drugs or roots or routes or medical terminologies, they came from Latin words. And so sometimes it's hard to put together the two. And the reason I'm telling them the Latin words is so that they have a better understanding. They will not remember the Latin word, but kind of made sense to them. Oh, that's where by mouth came from, per orem. And vaso, Latin or Greek, means vase or blood vessels. So it dilates the blood vessels. So if you can make a story or you can associate, visualize something about the drug, it doesn't have to be because of its generic or brand, but a story that's dear to you. Sister's taking it, my mom's taking it. I always pick it up. You have that picture. I remember that picture of a little girl, a couple more than 4 decades ago, when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was handing her medication. I never thought I'd be a pharmacist 4 decades later, 3 decades later. So that was a story dear to me. I'll never forget that drug.
That's a great way to think about it. It doesn't matter what you're memorizing against as long as it just kind of works for you and it just helps you remember it. The things that are going to work best for you are probably things that are very specific to you. So it's about finding those things.
Yeah, we all have stories. Not everyone probably have siblings, but we all have moms. So one of the activities I ask my students to do is to review their parents or their siblings prescription, that association. Okay, my sister is taking this, and they feel so powerful after learning, that confidence building. If you have a family member who's got prescriptions, just go over it. Then visualize, oh, that's why my cousin takes it. It's for his asthma. You'll never forget that, I betcha.
Got it. Yeah. Then what's the next tip on the list
Tip
for you?
number 4, flashcards. So I do have two groups of students, the digital ones and the non digital one. I'm old school. I've been a pharmacist for years. I'm super old school, but I'm the tail of the millennials. I'm a Gen X, so I don't have problems transitioning to the tech side. Flashcards, both digital and physical, are both very helpful. So to each his own. Some of my students, the younger ones, they like digital flashcards. Some of my students, the ones in the older side, they want physical flashcards. Some like a combination of both. Okay. I always tell the story. It's a fun fact of sorts. So back in the day, when I was in pharmacy school, there was only white flashcards. And then came the bright yellow, bright green, bright pink. To us pharmacy students, that was one of the best inventions after sliced bread. Why? These colors are important. And even when I teach, I use different color markers for a reason. Based on studies, 80% of people are visual. So if your flashcards are just white, all of them white, there will be no flashes of visuals or drawings or colors while you're taking the test. So when those flashcards with color, I'm talking physical flashcards first, came, I started putting my drugs for the heart. There's no red flashcards, so I used pink drugs for the heart. I used pink flashcards. And then I actually picture pus for infection or anti-infective. So I either put them in a bright yellow or bright green or white blood cells, then you can use your white if you don't have any. So what happens during a test, when I'm taking a test, any test, those colors, you think that they're just colors, it flashes in your head. Oh my God, I remember this. I wrote it in a pink flashcard. So this must be something for the heart. Same as grouping it by,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
yeah, you group them by class, you're actually grouping them by organs or system they affect. And that's how I group the drugs. Flashcards, physical ones help. So when you make flashcards, this is another tip too. You don't write the whole paragraph from the book that you read. It's flashcards. It's called flashcards for a reason. You flash it, you get the gist of it. The common mistake students do is they write paragraphs after paragraphs. The retention won't be there. But if you write phrases, important words, and then you flip it, you get it real fast. Or even put pictures in it or draw if you're good at drawing. I have students who are good at doodling. I do ugly drawings. And I remember that there's a recall during the test. Tell me the same thing, Miss L. I did the flashcards method. Going digital, now you can color code your digital flashcards too. And being fancy on the digital side, you can clip and attach images, image of the heart, image of the brain, if it's the central nervous system that it's affecting, if these are drugs that affect the nervous system, if it's skeletal system, you have picture of the skeletal system, you have pictures of the bones. All of those little things that you put in your flashcard, be it digital or physical, adds to the recall during a test. My ugly drawing on the board, they remembered it during the test. The boy with the spiky hair because of the sympathetic responses, fight, flight, with the big eyes. I'm not good at drawing, but then they love it because it's not pretty and it's a pattern interrupt from pretty drawings or curated
Right.
drawings. So they remember those things.
Yeah, definitely. I think flashcards are important. And so we have a PTCE course. It has a lot of review questions, which goes a step further and actually asks you to do like active recall. So it's not just like the flashcard, it's also a question attached. Something that we have built in, but you can also get for free, is called space repetition, which is basically a system that like trains your memory. And so I feel like if you want to do this on your own and you don't want to buy Achievable, which is totally fine, I would recommend a service called Anki, Anki, which lets you build your own space repetition flashcards online. And it's used by Jeopardy contestants and like people studying for medical school. But it is a lot of work to set up, I will say that. So if you don't like that, you can also do Quizlet or something
Quizlet,
similar
I
and
love
just
Quizlet.
put them on there. And that's pretty easy. So there's like lots of options to do it digitally. I would definitely say though, I prefer digital because it's a lot less work to get it set up. But then again, maybe it's nice to get off a screen once in a while.
So those flashcards, we can tie that to gamification, which is the digital ones wherein you do matching games, you do like you said, you like the digital one. There's so much you can do.